Yo, what is up, guys? It is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy back, and today with another fantasy football video. Today's video is Week 6 quarterbacks to stream. These are all quarterbacks that are going to be available likely in most of your leagues. Now, if none of these guys are available, leave down below in the comments, and I'll help you guys find a quarterback to pick up for this week if you aren't quite the pickle. Now, before I get in the video, I'd like to give you guys a word from my sponsor, Overlay DFS. They are a great website. I play on it every single week, and you guys should join me, play the role. Now, are you tired of having to pick the perfect player at every single position in order to win on salary cap DFS? Are you tired of having your salary cap lineup out of the running to win that money in the first 5 minutes of the games? Does playing salary cap DFS feel like a job and not even a game? Want a fantasy game where pros with 150 lineups and computer generated programs can't dominate? OverlayDFS.com has a new revolutionary start sit game for fantasy sports. They're the home of the single entry GPP. How do you play? Like I said, it's a simple start sit format. You make 12 start sit decisions from the 30 plus matchups presented, like you can see on my screen right now for week 6. A win, loss, or tie will be awarded to your overall record for each decision you make. Records in the top 10% of users win 9 times your buy-in. 12-0 records win GTD progressive bonus. All matchups are player versus player who will have the most total fantasy points. Usually 8-4 records are good enough to get that cash. Sometimes 7-5. Other times 9-3, depending on the week. You make 12 picks in the matchups options listed. For example, for week 6, it could be Pat Mahomes versus Deshaun Watson, Baker Mayfield versus Andy Dalton, Dalvin Cook versus Alvin Kamara, and many, many more. The object is to stay consistent and finish in the top 10% of the field to win 9 times your buy-in until the stars align and you go that beautiful 12-0. Right now, if you go a perfect 12-0 in the $109 game, you'll win the progressive bonus of over $26,000. They have buy-ins at all levels. If no one hits the perfect 12-0 record of the progressive bonus, keeps growing and growing and growing until it gets hit. It's like the super contest, but for DFS. Don't get shut out. Visit www.overlaydfs.com today. And we are back, week 6 quarterbacks to stream. First stream here is Kirk Cousins of the Minnesota Vikings, 45% ownership percentage on Yahoo. Now, week 6, he's going up against the Eagles. The Eagles allow the 11th most fantasy points to a quarterback, so he should be in for a pretty solid week this week against the Eagles. Now, the Eagles are great against the run. Dalvin Cook may end up struggling in this game, so they're going to have to throw the ball, whether that's to Thielen, whether that's to Stephon Diggs, whether Stephon Diggs even shows up to the game, who really knows, but I still think Kirk Cousins will be good, even if it's just throwing the ball to Thielen, and even if it's just dumping the ball off to Dalvin Cook. Now, week 5, Kirk Cousins played great. 22 completions on 27 attempts for 306 yards and 2 touchdowns for 20.5 fantasy points in a 4-point per passing touchdown league. Now, do I expect him to throw 300 yards against Minnesota? Probably not, but what I do expect is a pretty solid game that will grant him being a top 12 quarterback and worthy of a stream this week. Now, the next quarterback to talk about is Gardner Minshew of the Jacksonville Jaguars, 53% ownership on NFL.com. Now, Minshew Mania is everywhere. It is gone viral. This guy is crazy. It's just amazing how viral this guy is. And you know what? It's for a good reason. Now, he has been playing quite well. He's playing against the Saints, week 6, New Orleans. Saints are allowing the 3rd most points to quarterbacks this season. So Gardner Minshew is definitely in for a high-scoring matchup here against the Saints. He's quarterback number 12 on the year. He's higher than a lot of guys than you would think that would be up there. Now, he's putting up solid numbers every single week. Week 1 against Kansas City, 22 of 25 for 275 yards, plus 2 tutties and 1 pick for 17.6 points. Week 2 against the Houston Texans, 23 of 33 for 213 yards, plus 1 touchdown for 16.1 points. Week 3 against the Tennessee Titans, 20 of 30 for 204 yards, plus 2 touchdowns for 17.96 points. Week 4 against the Denver Broncos, 19 of 33 for 213 yards, plus 2 touchdowns for 16.72 points. And week 5 against Carolina, 26 of 44 for 374 yards, plus 2 touchdowns for 12.16 fantasy points. Obviously, he threw some pickaroos in that game. But with that being said, Gardner Minshew should be in for a super good matchup against the Saints this week, and I'm very confident in him going into week 6. Next QB to talk about here is Jimmy Guap going up against, or he's on the San Francisco 49ers, or 63% ownership on Yahoo. Now, he's obviously not a guy that's going to be readily available. He's not going to be available in every single league, but he's still a guy that I would look for if I was in a streaming position. I was playing the Rams this week, okay? And the Rams aren't allowing all that many points to quarterbacks, mainly because they sauced Baker week 1, and that obviously makes them allow less points to quarterbacks when Baker did terrible. Now, they're playing the Rams, but we saw Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson play great games against the Rams in back-to-back weeks. Now, Jimmy Garoppolo is averaging 14.4 points per game on the season. He's going to have to throw in this game. They can't just run it 9,000 times like they did against the Browns. Mr. McVay is going to be able to figure that out. Sean McVay over there, the genius, talking into everyone's ear. He's going to be able to figure out that they can stop the run. You can't just run the ball 9,000 times. So I think that Jimmy Garoppolo is going to have to air the ball out. And even if they run the ball 9,000 times, the defense is going to be so scared that the wide receivers are going to look wide the fuck open, and Jimmy Garoppolo can find the hole in the defense and throw the ball. Now, last week against Cleveland, Jimmy Garoppolo went 20 of 29 for 181 yards and 2 touchdowns for 14.9 PPR points. So he could have a similar game this week against the Rams, potentially even better if they're throwing the ball a lot more. And the final stream here is Kyle Allen of the Carolina Panthers, 11% ownership on NFL.com. He should be the key if you're in any type of super deep league. He should be available. Now, he's playing up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this week. They allow the second most points to quarterbacks this season. Now, week 4, week 5 didn't look too hot. But week 3, his first start was against the Cardinals that allow a lot of points to the quarterback position, just like the Buccaneers. So here is what we could potentially get. 10 of 26 for 261 yards and 4 touchdowns for 24.3 fantasy points. All it takes for Kyle Allen to score a touchdown is to dump the ball off to Christian McCaffrey, him to run 70 yards, and hop in the end zone. He could have an amazing game just dumping the ball off to Christian McCaffrey. Now, my only worry about this game is that it is being played over the pond in London. Now, I don't think that was a good accent, but he's going over the pond, going to London. It's going to be an early game, and maybe in London is where some crazy shit happens, where the Buccaneers may just blow the Carolina Panthers out of the water. While I don't see that happening, that is a potential for this game, but I still do like Kyle Allen here as a stream. So thank you guys all for watching this video. If at any point you enjoyed, if at any point you chuckled or anything, make sure to click that subscribe button, knock one time if you're with me. Have a great rest of your guys' day. Check out overlaydfs.com. Down in the description is very fun. Come play with me. Come fly away with me. We're going to have a great day. Knock one time if you're with me. Have a great day. Goodbye.